Hi everyone, welcome to Let's Talk with Mariama, your channel of motivation, inspiration and positive vibes. So today I'm going to be talking about communication in interracial marriage. I find this topic, it's like super important. I cannot overemphasize how important communication is, how crucial. People, when I say crucial, it is crucial. Because without communication, I find the relationship is going to be very difficult, very challenging to make it work. Coming from African background, and my husband is very Swiss people. He can be flexible sometimes because he learned that from me. He can be patient because he learned that from me. But everything has to be planned. So we talk about everything, and I find there are certain things. When we just assume that our partners know what we mean, I think most of the times they don't. Or they understand where we're coming from. Most of the times they don't. So I think it is important to actually sit down and discuss things and say every single thing that you would think it's important to you. Starting from the whole friendship stage where you meet, where you get to know each other and all that. You just don't assume that this person knows you enough and it's okay because you're married or you're planning to get married or because you've been together for a year or 2 or 3. I find in my relationship, my husband is still learning about my culture. I am still learning from him and from his culture. And every day, every time I think, oh, you know, I've settled in, I know the Swiss culture and all that, I find myself learning a new thing. So the learning process is a constant thing from his side and from my side. And we don't also take things for granted, as in he understands certain things to be concrete, like special occasions and Eids, let's say in the Gambia, where we celebrate these festivities and Christmas and Easter and all that. When you're in a relationship, your boyfriend or your fiancé or your husband would also say, oh yeah, I would like you to wear a nice dress and all that, or buy a nice purse or shoes, and then they give you this money. You don't even have to ask. Sometimes you have to ask. It depends on the individual you are with. And so it is a normal thing, you know, it's just like a gesture. It's not like a huge amount or something like that, because they know the culture. And when, let's say you're in Europe, every month you decide, hey, I just would like to have a fixed amount of money that I send to my parents or my family or whatever. They understand. And if you're not working, they take that responsibility. Not all of them, again. There are men that would not do that. But most of our men would do that. Then, my Swiss husband doesn't understand that, people. And I do not blame him, because that's not his culture. That's not what he knows. That is not what they do. And these are things that I didn't just assume that he had to do them. You know, when we just got married, when we visited my aunt and uncles and stuff like that, I had actually talked to him about it first, but I just didn't want it to be his responsibility. So I had actually changed my money, put it in envelopes and all that, and then whenever we had visited an aunt or an uncle or a relative or a neighbor, I would just give them something. And he had to ask. But of course we talked about it. He's like, why would you do that? Like, every time you go, you have to give someone money and all that. But it's our culture that we do that. And it's not all about money, people. But this particular chicken change, I call it, because it's not a lot, it helps these families to actually do a lot or be able to put food on the table. So it's not trying to sustain them. It's just showing your appreciation, and it's just a small nice gesture that you do, because you don't do it every day. It's maybe once every year or once every 3, 4, 5 years. I don't know, depending on how often you visit them. And so these were things that were very critical, but we had to talk about it. Or understanding, why do you have to be the one maintaining your family? Because you can afford it, because you just cannot go to bed knowing that you've eaten well. Maybe you had your pizza or you had your chicken. People, I don't eat chicken, but still. Or you had a nice steak or nice grilled fish or something like that. Going to bed thinking, oh, had my family in the Gambia or in Africa or in South America or in Asia actually eaten? Are they struggling? I don't know. There are people that are capable of doing that, not even thinking about it, not even reflecting. But I am thankful every day for what I have and for what I can share. So that is just me, and my husband had to know that. But it took a lot of conversations, like intensive conversations, and he understands and he respects that, but it is not their culture. So I don't impose things on him, or I don't expect him to do that. I work, I earn the money, and I take care of my culture, my traditional things. But still, it's the communication. And so it's quite difficult when I meet couples that go like, hey, I am married, I'm dating a European, but one time I just asked for some money and for internet and all that, he stopped talking to me. And I just could not keep up buying credit to have data on my phone to talk to him, and that's why I asked, but not much, you know, that kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, the thing is, the two of you have never met before, and just asking the person for money without explaining why exactly you need the money, why exactly can't you not afford it, I think I would also back off. So it's understanding the culture. It's also communicating that would have actually prevented these situations from happening. But people assume, hey, you know, I'm in Africa, it's not easy, it's hard, or I don't have a job, or I have a job that the salary is it's almost nothing, and you know, I'm talking to you every day, I'm buying credit data to talk to you, and I would like a bit of, you know, help there at least, you know. But if you don't communicate, they would not know. I find that in these situations it's difficult, because this person thinks, oops, red flag, the African thinks I have money, wants my money, that's why they're asking and all that. So communication is quite important in every situation, in every instance and all that. It is important to discuss it. It is important to tell one another what it is, and then you can find a way to make your relationship work. If you all need my input or have questions, because there are so many situations, you can just write, and then I can do that personally. Don't expect your partners to always be the ones actually bringing in the money. I find independence, financial independence, is super crucial in a woman's life, because I can sit here and talk about these things because I get up and I go to work and I earn my money. So I decide what I want to do with my money. But if you're home and you're not doing anything, not because you have health conditions that are keeping you away from work, or not because you have kids and you decide to stay home to be a full-time mother, none like that, just being lazy, sitting home and expecting your husband to, or your wife, your husband or your wife to do everything for you, you become a liability, people, and you don't get the respect that you deserve, and then they can treat you anyhow they want, baby girl or baby boy. So if you really want sometimes for people to understand you, you have to show the effort yourself. And I always say to my husband, you don't have to agree with me, and you don't have to understand certain situations or certain things that I do when it comes to my culture or regarding my culture. It is important for you to respect it. And that is what we do. When we cannot find the balance, when we cannot find a meeting point, we try to just respect the other person's view or what they want to do. So, until next week, you all have a great Saturday, and I'll talk to you all again. If you have questions, just send me your questions and I'll gladly make a video about it. Until then.